This is Dr. Katie with Craig Chiropractic and Kinesiology, and today I wanted to talk about health foods and safe foods. So to begin, I know that many of my patients and those following this channel have things called food sensitivities. I myself have this, and this is where sometimes we react to different foods. That could be things like gluten, dairy, nightshade, sugar, vegetables, etc. Everybody's a little bit different. Okay? And we always try to get you to a point where you can eat more foods. Of course, that is the goal. But in the meantime, while we're detoxing, while we're recovering, sometimes even long term if necessary, we have to remove certain foods. There are just some people that can't have gluten. They just react too much, while others can slowly reintroduce. Now, whether or not you're doing a detox, you're being treated in clinic and we need to eliminate food, or you have long-term food sensitivities, it's important to find foods that are safe for you, right? And so I wanted to talk about that, what I call health foods and what I call safe foods. Now, those are two different things, and I would like to just briefly explain. So, health foods over here, these are foods that are healthy for you, meaning they offer nutrition. Think like fresh fruits and vegetables, right? A lot of nutrition there. A lot of times we talk about things like whole foods, right? So you're having, instead of something out of a package or out of a box, you have actual whole food, like you have a chicken breast here that you cooked, right? Whole food. You steamed up some carrots, whole food, not something that was pre-packaged or coming out of a box. Okay, so those kind of foods are nutritious, right? They offer important vitamins, minerals for our bodies, and it's always the best way to go. But here's where the confusion comes in. We have what we call health foods that actually have benefit for your body. But then on the other side, I have what I like to call safe foods. Now, safe foods are foods that I call, well, they're safe, meaning you won't react to them. For example, if you can't have gluten, a safe food might be an item that is gluten-free, meaning you will not have a gluten reaction. You won't swell up or get digestive issues from eating that food. However, not all safe foods are healthy, okay? Again, health foods, those are foods that are actually good for you. Think about a homemade chicken soup or bone broth. You know that, wow, that's really good for you. It tastes good for you, your body loves it, right? That's a health food. Just because something is gluten-free, just because it says it's dairy-free, does not automatically mean that it is a health food. It doesn't automatically mean it's a safe food either. But I like to think of safe foods as foods that you do not react to, that are comforting. Here's an example. I will confess that growing up, even as a teenager and in college, one of my comfort foods whenever I was stressed was mac and cheese with hot dogs. I know, some of you will be shaking your heads right now, and others will be like, yeah, me too. Okay? Whatever side of the fence you're on, that was one of my comfort foods when I was stressed. It made me feel good. Well, guess what? I now have gluten and dairy sensitivities. Sometimes I even react to beef. What is mac and cheese? Gluten pastas, dairy, cheese and milk. Usually hot dogs are made out of beef. So for a while, I thought that I could not have my favorite comfort food. I have since learned how to make a gluten-free, dairy-free, beef-free mac and cheese with hot dogs, okay? And I've got to tell you, it is the most wonderful comfort food for me. I call it a safe food because it does not trigger any of my food reactions. I feel just fine eating it. Mentally, I'm very happy. My gut digests it just fine. So I call it a safe food. Okay, if I've had a long, stressful day, I need something I can make fast that I will not react to. This dairy-free, gluten-free mac and cheese hits it. However, I would not call this gluten-free, dairy-free mac and cheese a health food. There really isn't a lot of nutritional benefit to this food, okay? I'm not getting vitamins and minerals eating this food. I would not advocate people to run out and eat this, like feed this to your kids every day. Okay, for myself, I'm not eating this every day either. I'm just eating it here and there, okay? More as just a nice splurge or something safe. So remember, safe foods are foods that are easy to make, they're comforting, they feel good mentally, they feel good on your body, and they don't trigger any food reactions. okay? That doesn't necessarily mean that they are health foods, okay? Just a very brief example. I remember being somewhere once where it was some kind of meeting where a group of us were there, and many of us have food sensitivities. So someone brought a dessert to share, and they brought these gluten-free, dairy-free, like chocolate chip cookie bars. And instead of using sugar, they had used maple syrup, and these bars were amazing. And if you're somebody with food sensitivities, you know how hard it is to find things like that. So everybody was excited about these cookies, and it was great. And so, great dessert. No one was having food reactions. Well, there was a newer member there, and they were a little bit older. It's fine, very sweet, but they misunderstood because they heard that, oh, the cookie bars are gluten-free, dairy-free, and they contain maple syrup, not regular sugar. They thought that these were health bars. And they're like, oh, these are such wonderful health bars. I'm gonna eat a couple more to get my vitamins. And we were all very confused, and we didn't know how to respond. We didn't have the heart to tell them that, well, ma'am, this is still a dessert. This is still technically a junk food. This isn't something you want to eat large portions of, right? It's what I would call a safe food. Now, if I was going to have a dessert, that is a dessert I would not react to, right? So, hey, I can have my little chocolate chip cookie. I'm fine. However, this is not a vitamin bar. This cookie bar is not a health food. Okay, you don't need this to survive, and it still is something you have to break down. So, moral of the story here is there are health foods and there are safe foods. Okay, that is the difference. I'll talk more about this in the future, but I hope that makes sense. So, it's always good to have safe foods. For those stressful days, you just need to cook dinner quick. It's like, okay, we can pull something out of the freezer, we can pop it in, like a gluten-free chicken nugget. Not a health food. Is it a safe food? Nobody reacts to it because there's no gluten and we're fine. If you're doing safe foods every once in a while, sometimes that's okay. Sometimes with chronic health problems, you have to just to get through. So there's no shame there. But it's important to make sure we're getting in those health foods, those real fruits, those real vegetables, real whole meat, things like that. All right, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them below, and thank you for watching.